Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Om Shanti, Om. Peace inside my God, and only God is moving me. Peace inside my mind, God, and only God I live to see. Peace inside my mind, God, and only God is moving me. Peace inside my mind, God, and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Om Shanti, Om. Peace inside my mind, God, and only God is moving me. Peace inside my mind, God, and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Good evening and welcome to Kitchen Conversations. I'm so glad that you're here this evening, be it in the physical virtual presence right now, or if you see this at a later date, know that your energy and light is absolutely received. So it's an exciting night tonight, and we have a full packed house. And what we like to do here at Kitchen Conversations, we like to bless the conversation, bless the consciousness, bless the world. And tonight, we are rocking it out with a tag team of blessing, y'all. You're going to get filled up with the power and presence. Sarah Adams and Christine Thompson. Come on, y'all, give us that blessing.
Thank you, Gino. It's so lovely to be here. So let's just take a moment to anchor in our consciousness. We're going to breathe and slow down, let our breath be our place of focus, knowing that there's only one breath, one infinite loving spirit that's breathing its life, breathing its breath through all creation, through all existence. And so it's breathing its breath right where I am, right where Gino is, and Linda and Bob, and every person who's watching our live stream right now and in the future, because there is no time, no space, no distance in God. So I just speak and affirm and know the truth that there is an infinite loving consciousness and infinite intelligence, that it's making its way and making itself known through our service tonight, through the words of Gino, through our shared experience and exploring and deepening our awareness of racial equality and injustice, knowing that we are truly spreading the word and working in consciousness for a world that works for everyone. So I know that that is happening here and now with ease and grace and perfect timing. And so I surrender this time and I pass it to my dear friend Christine to finish up our blessing.
Thank you, Sarah. And so just adding to the gorgeousness and that magnificence that is here, that breath of the divine, the ever giving of itself in all of the many ways that God shows up, that Spirit shows up, that the divine shows up in each one of us. And knowing that right here and right now, through Gino and through our music and the support that's right here, that we are indeed affirming that life matters. That what we do here and how we spread the love of the divine matters. And I know for us this evening that we are already blessed, that this experience is grand beyond grand, that the infinite, that is the infinite, manifests as the infinite through all of us. And so just resting here in this grand space, the love that is right here, the love that is ever eternal, that which wants to move out through us this evening, I know that it is love. And so just resting here and knowing that the divine is so ever present right here. And join me as this knowing as we say together, and so it is.
That was yummy, delicious. Thank you for that beautiful blessing. Trust love, trust love, trust God, that love is everywhere, that we are here to be the perfect givers of love and receivers of love, and love will have the final word. Trust love, trust love, trust God, that love is everywhere, that we are here to be the perfect givers of love and receivers of love, and love will have the final word. No one ever loses when one trusts love, for true love is never to fail. Love is the essence of the Spirit that is known by always giving. Love sees the truth beyond appearances, and love judges not. Yes, love renews, love renews. Love is a healer, oh yes it is. Love loves to love, love loves to love, and we'll keep on being love, and we'll keep on being love. This is His holy way. So trust love, trust love, everywhere, for we are here to be the perfect givers of love and receivers of love, and love will have the final word. No one ever loses when one trusts love. To love is to never fail. Love is the essence of the Spirit that is known by always giving. Love is the truth beyond appearances, and love judges not. Yes, love renews. Yes, love renews. Love is a healer. Oh yes, it is. Love loves to love. Love loves to love, and we'll keep on being love, and we'll keep on being love. This is our holy way. So trust love, trust God, trust God. That love is everywhere, that we are here to be the perfect givers of love and receivers of love, and love will have the final word. We are here to be the perfect givers of love and receivers of love, and love will have the final word. Love will have the final word. Thank you, Linda. That was sweet. So tonight, I was really pulled into the George Floyd trial, and it was a little taxing to watch, to hear the testimony. And so I realized that, we need to talk about it, and also out of I forgot the phrase, but out of focus, out of mind, out of state, out of mind, out of place, out of mind. And so there are a lot of people that have forgotten that the trial is happening, and that this could mark a crucial point in us shifting how our police are governed, how we can change some laws, and also to send love and healing prayers to the people of Minneapolis, Minnesota, because that state, that city, they've had some back-to-back things. So we're going to dive into that. And so what came up for me in that discovery was the word threat. The word threat, how it's used, and what it means to you. So as we get ready for that, we're going to do our theme song. And after our theme song, I'm going to play a little bit of a video for you. And then we'll pick up from there. Oh, yeah. You know, You better listen, my sister and brothers, 'cause if you do, you will hear the voices that are calling across the years. And they're crying across the ocean, and they're crying across the land, and they will until we all understand that none of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If one of us in chains, none of us are free. Oh, there are people in the dark, and they just won't see the light. If you don't say it's wrong, that says it's right. We gotta give our brothers and sisters, let them know that we care. Let's get the message out loud and clear that none of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If one of us in chains, none of us are free. Oh, none of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If just one of us is in chains, don't you know we will not be free? Linda, yeah, baby. Let's get ready for that video.
I'm Hawk Newsom. I'm the president of Black Lives Matter New York, and apparently I'm a human rights activist. The question that I want to pose to you is, why do people say no to ending racism? There are many ways that you can say no. You can shake your head, you can outright say no, or you can say no through your inactivity. For years, actually centuries, black people have been oppressed here in America. And most good people with love in their hearts say, I want to help you. I want to help to end racism. But at the end of the day, they don't show up. I could give a speech to you today and wow you and motivate you, but will you carry that message outside? Because I see the bigger picture. I see more than just black and white. I see love and I see hate. And what we're experiencing here in America is people who have hatred in their hearts are out mobilizing and out organizing the individuals who have love in their hearts. I want to tell you a story. About 3 years ago, we marched from New York to Washington, D.C. It was amazing. It was about 100 of us. You had black people, Jewish people, white people, Muslims, everybody marching, holding signs, singing songs, saying what? Black Lives Matter, saying end racism. Everybody stood together in harmony. We slept in mosques, we slept in synagogues. It was beautiful. On the 8th day of this journey, we were at a church in Baltimore, and we heard that Freddie Gray died. Could you imagine? You just walk 26 miles a day, you're sore, you're achy, you're fighting for justice, just to hear that another black man died in police custody on that day, in that city, when the mayor just met with you the night before and said that would never happen here? So we heard that people were rioting at the precinct, and we as organizers said, let's go over to this precinct to calm people down and show them how to react the right way. So we started our march, and we had this chant, and it was called Off the Sidewalks and Into the Streets. Off the sidewalks and into the streets. And I'm out front. There are about 5 police cars with us. There are helicopters. There's news reporters everywhere. Fox News was there just in case we messed up and did something crazy. But there it was. Older people were getting off the sidewalk. Kids were jumping into the streets with their bikes, and we're marching. And I see these people across the street, 3 brothers walking. And I'm like, what's up? We're all the way down from New York. We're marching for you. Why aren't you with us? They start crossing the street. And one of those brothers are nudged by a car that was coming. And he ran and he opened the door. So I jogged over from the front of the line. I said, no, brother, this isn't the fight. This isn't the way we do things. Let's march with us. Let's go to this precinct. Let's let our voices be heard. And he kind of looked at the driver, and then he walked and he joined me. I don't believe in coincidence. I believe in God incidents. That was Freddie Gray's brother, right? And he marched with us there. So we get to the precinct. We calm people down. We're standing outside. We're chanting. And a car pulls up. It's a squad car. And he says, that's him. That's the cop that killed my brother. So we walk over to the car. The police officer rolls down his window, and he goes, and Freddie's brother says, what did you do to my brother? What did you do to my brother? The officer looked us all up and down and laughed. He laughed in our faces. This officer who killed his brother looked at him and laughed in his face, and then he rolled his window back up.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me get over a little bit. There we go. Get in the frame. Wow. For those of you that may have never heard of Freddie Gray, this took place in 2018, April 12th. And 25-year-old black man was arrested for carrying a switchblade. And they were in Baltimore, Maryland. In Maryland, it is legal to carry a switchblade. They arrested him, put him in a paddy wagon. 45 minutes later, he was dead. And so there were a lot of things, and the police officers that arrested him, nothing happened to them. The prosecution, there was a bystander that took video. His name was Kevin Moore. He had video of all of the accounts that took place when they arrested him, how they arrested him. They'd never called him to testify. There was a discrepancy. The police said that they made 3 stops. We still don't know why they made the 3 stops. But in actuality, they made 6. This was just 2018. As I started to look at this and looking at George Floyd's trial, one of the things that is quite clear that the defense is putting George's character on trial. Putting the man, what the crime was, or supposedly was, and what his past history was. And it's one of these things that I think sometimes we say, well, he was a drug addict. Or, well, he had a switchblade on him. Or, well, he was cussing at the police. And we have come to agree that the police have full right to take a life in that situation. When the job of the policeman or woman is there to protect and serve, by all means, they have to protect themselves. I'm not saying that. But there have been far too many cases that you've seen white people spit at the cops, cuss them out. I've even seen them hit the police officers. Sometimes they get hit back. But one of the main common denominators, they live to see another day. They live to see another day. So when this started bubbling up that they were talking about he was on fentanyl, and that's what killed him. And to actually see the full video, I didn't realize that we were missing some of it, other angles, but with Derek Chauvin kneeling on his knee, on his neck, it was for 9 minutes and 26 seconds that he knelt on this man's knee. And you could see him positioning himself in different ways, having his weight distribute differently. And so constantly what's being said throughout the trial is that George Floyd was a big man. He was a threat. He was a threat. When I look at a lot of these cases, the word threat is always there. And it's like threat equal raise your voice. I started thinking about times in my life. I'm a very expressive person, for those of you that know me. And there are times when I get excited, my voice will rise, and I'm engaged. And I've been in conversations with people that say, oh, Gino, you're so loud. That's really loud, and showing that they're in fear of me. And these are people that I know. And I will say that these have been some of my white friends that I didn't understand why it offended me so, because they could raise their voice, but it always seemed to be different than with my voice raised. There was so much anger coming out of you, Gino. I said there was passion coming out of me, just like there was passion coming out of you. No, you don't understand it. So as I started looking at some of the common denominators, this threat that the police have hung to is someone saying, "Why did you stop me, officer?" Minneapolis, Minnesota, they've had quite a few police killing of black. And the officers have, nothing has happened to the officers. What is his name? Philip Castro, the one that he and his girlfriend were in the car. I actually saw that while it was unfolding. She was streaming it on Facebook. I don't know how I got connected with her, but I go on my Facebook page and bam, I come on just after the cop. Well, I come in mid-shot. He's boom, 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 like 4 or 5 times. She has her hands on the wheel. Her daughter's in the back seat. And she's saying, as calmly as I think anybody could have, "Officer, he told you he had a gun, so you would not shoot him. He has a license to carry the gun." And when you see the beginning part of the video, they pull them over for a traffic stop. He's sitting on the passenger side and he says to the cop, "I just want to let you know I have a gun in the car. I am licensed to carry the gun." The cop says, "Show me the registration." He reaches for the registration. Boom, 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 boom. He was a threat. When we look back to our history, Jim Crow has really made it okay for anybody white to be in fear, to say, "I'm fearful of this black person." Threat equals being black. So from the very time that any person is born of color, you are considered a threat. Otherwise, a little boy playing in the park with a play gun would never get gunned down by the police. But he was a black little boy. He was a threat. There was no investigation. There was no rhyme or reason. There was no common sense. He was a threat. During Jim Crow, if a white woman yelled that, oh, a black man raped her, robbed her, there were no questions. There was just kill. And they didn't just kill that man. They'd kill a whole damn village of people. And so we see in today's time, the woman, what's her name? Amy Cooper in Central Park. Perfect example of knowing that I can say that there's a big black man that is threatening me, and the cops will come and they will not check out the information. They're coming to hurt, to detain, to get that black person. Questions asked later. Because why? They're a threat. As you start to look within yourself, to see when you're in mixed company, when you're with different cultures, if you start to observe some of your biases that come up, and we have to all recognize that we have them. There's not any person that doesn't have a bias of different cultures and different things, because there's been so much fed to us, through school, through the media, through family members, through friends, through their experience. Oh, I had an experience with this person. This is what they're like. And it's been fed over and over and over. So for people of color are a threat. And if you are a black man, you are an absolute threat. I can't think of the woman's name, but she was stopped for a traffic ticket. And I was sharing the story with someone, and she asked the officer, "Why did you stop me?" And my friend said, "Why didn't she just do what the officer said?" And I said, "Why doesn't she have the right to ask that question? Why would that be the problem?" It's not clear what happened, but what is clear that she ended up dead some hours later in jail. And so my friend was looking at me like, well, but if you just do what they say. I said, well, we might as well go back to whatever, a police officer or anybody. We don't get to ask questions. We don't get to, we get to have no rights. Whatever they say, we just have to accept. I said, it's so close to that right now. You can ask a question and feel validated to ask. But here is a black woman, and so her response was, but you are at a higher risk. So that's not where we should focus on, that I'm at a higher risk. We need to focus on how can we not have people of color at a risk? How can we not be a threat? When you look at how the symbolism of black, they have a lot of things dark associated with black. You know, on Wall Street, Black Monday? There's always this associating that black is somehow this really low-level energy thing. You know, big black man. As soon as that is said, big black man. It's rare you hear big white man. The actor Vig Rhymes shared this story recently. He was in his home, and they didn't say what area, but you know, he had made some money, so I'm sure he was in a very nice neighborhood. He's in his home. All of a sudden, he sees lasers through his window. There's a big banging on the door. Police, open up, open up, open up. He opens the door, guns drawn. One of his neighbors had called and said there was a big black man that had broken into this house. His house, his home. And what he said was, what if my son was here? He plays video games all the time. And you know they have those remotes. That's a threat, bam! It just hit me when he said that, because it's so real. That there's not time to, they didn't even take time to come and investigate, because I'm pretty sure, nobody said it, but it was a white woman that called. I could be wrong, I doubt it. They didn't come to investigate. They came to take out the threat. The threat. One of the officers recognized him and was like, oh. And I saw this on The View. It happened to be one of those things you're flicking through, and I catch the story, and I love what Whoopi ended up saying. Obviously, the neighbor is new, because Vig has been living in that area for a while. And they played it off as, you should get to know your neighbor. One of the things in that video that I liked when he opened up about there are many ways to say no, that you're not going to participate. And so these conversations that we engage in, that are this time of checking in and kitchen conversations of what I may be talking about or a guest may be talking about. It's not easy to hear or even to talk about it, to be able to express a feeling, a thought, a living presence that I participate in, that my family, that people of color all over. I had well, I don't want to call it pleasure, but I had the expansion of consciousness. I went to the Asian American Pacific Islander rally that they had a few weeks ago. And to listen to the Asian women tell their stories, how they have been so sexually throughout the course from a little girl to a grown woman, they've been a sexual object, especially to white men. That one lady shared that at 12 years old, there was a white man that was trying to get after her. And I thought, wow, it was a beautiful mix of people that were there. To hear the pain of feeling that as them too not being heard, not feeling safe, not feeling as though, as one woman stood up and said that she was so tired of people saying, what country are you from? She said, I was born and raised here in America. We assume so much when we look at a person. If they look different, if they look Asian, well, I wonder what part of Asia they're from. Never assuming that they could have been born and raised here in America. And the frustration of being born in a country that you don't feel accepted in, I can understand. So, with George Floyd's trial, if you're watching it, if you check in and out, be mindful that the objective is to put this man's character on trial, not the crime. The young man that took the $20, the counterfeit $20 from George. Said that he didn't believe that George even knew that the $20 was counterfeit. But what got me was what he closed with. He said, if I had just said no to the $20, we wouldn't be here today. But the thing is, we would be here. We may not know that we're here, but we would still be here. Because you know what? Somewhere, somebody else's son, somebody else's father would be killed for pulling out a pack of cigarettes. They were a threat. So if you feel that black people are a threat, and you don't have to tell me. You know, you got your, you know. Or you're starting to recognize when you feel uncomfortable. If you're walking down the street and you see a black man and it's dark, you're like, ooh, I better cross over. Ask yourself if you do that if it was a white man. I remember this class I've had, and I've shared this before. We were in Seattle, and I really thanked her for her honesty. She said if she saw a black man, a young black man walking down the street with his pants sagging, with the chains on, that he was a drug addict or a drug seller, and he was dangerous, had guns, she was afraid of him. And I said, what if he was your grandson? And she said, well, he's white. That's not anything white people would do. They're not little hoodlums, little rugrats. I thought, wow, because he's not a threat. White person's not a threat. People of color are a threat. In all these different videos and things that you see, you can feel the aggressiveness that takes place like that. There is, you know, when I watch them with George Floyd, and one of the things I understood was that he said he was claustrophobic. And so the initial struggle, because they had him handcuffed, and they had him sitting on the ground, and they helped him up, he got up. There was no struggle, there was no threat. But what I didn't realize, that there was a threat, because every cop there thought because he's a black man, he was a threat. So he said, I'm claustrophobic. Why can't you call a paddy wagon? Why must you force this man into this situation where he's telling you, he's screaming, no, I'm claustrophobic? Why is that not a legitimate reason to call for backup? So the struggle begins. And yes, he is struggling. He's struggling. And I don't know if you've ever known anybody that has a phobia of some sort. When they are pinned in that situation, anyone can act like that. But the whole time, he's handcuffed. I just don't know how much he could do being handcuffed. He was struggling as it was to keep himself from in the back of that patrol car. And when they showed it, it's really small, and maybe I know a little thing or two about it, not telling. But it's a very small little area, very tight. And he was a big man. Why couldn't they call for a paddy wagon? They have them. Why couldn't they put him on the ground, let him sit there till the paddy wagon came? Why was it so unbelievable, or that it wasn't even something that was to be considered? Because when you have no value, when you are not a person, we do not have to honor anything that you say. We don't even have to let it register. This story, I remembered it, but I forgot what the turnout was. Susan Smith, this was a young woman that had 2 kids, and she was in the Midwest. Cops came, and she said that she was carjacked by a big black man that took her 2 children. and they killed the kids. And she gave a description. And so the hunt was on for a black man. They arrested someone to find out, somebody did some due diligence at some point, to find out that the story did not jive. She killed her own kids. When you know that you have an ace in the hole, that I can say that this big black man or this black woman is trying to hurt me, and that the police will come without any questioning. They come ready to attack. Patricia Riley, this one was not too long ago in Florida. Her son was autistic and drowned. Who did it? A big black man. And you see them taking this man who looked as though he may have been homeless or definitely had some type of mental issue himself. They arrested this man. Only to find out what? Patricia drowned her own son. We cannot keep thinking that this is a form of justice. That when you hear the statement, defund the police, take the defund out of there. It's restructure. We need to create new laws that make people accountable for taking life. I am not saying that it's an easy job to be a policeman or a policewoman. Absolutely not. But that cannot give them the right the moment they feel that there's a threat. That man that was in Charlottesville with his hands up, you heard the white female officer say, "Ooh, he's a big black man." He turned around, they're asking for things at the same time. He opens the door of his car, boom, boom, boom. Because he's a threat. Being born of color is a threat. This spiral of racism is so ingrained, and it just is, it circles everything that we do. It circles how we look at people, what we think of people. And so I said, we have to start having some solutions. And it doesn't mean that we will have the answer. I don't think there is a answer. But what I appreciated about him when he said, if you say no to racism, and you can say it in many ways, you can say it, and shaking your head, no. You can say, you can be silent. But understand this. People get caught in the story that they think that to clear up racism is for black people, it's for Asians, it's for Hispanics, it's for people of color. Racism is for human beings. To get rid of racism is to evolve into human beings. This is as much for you as it is for me. Without it, we will not go on. Not like this. And I'm not Debbie Downer at all, because I know that there's a greater expression that is happening, and all of these things are unfolding for the greatness that is expressing right now. So, to be for a human being, one of the things you can do, one solution, educate yourself. I'm going to tell you, I do not like watching all this stuff, reading these things. But I said, Gino, if you want to stay awake and stay aware of how you can participate and how you can make a step, you've got to be educated. You got to know what's going on. You got to know what's happening. So educate yourself. The vast world of the internet is an oasis of information. And I'm not saying you got to believe everything you read. Search it out. But move into some type of form. There are books that you can read. There are many authors that are out there that have come to the forefront because of the light that has been shone on America's racism. The world, our global racism, sexism, religiousism. We got so many isms. You know, if we become a world for human beings, recognizing that all human beings have a right to live, to thrive, to love, to laugh, to be, to express, to create, to be who and what they choose to be, and that does not affect you or me. Oh, so much easier. So educate yourself. One, educate yourself. Find some things that can help open your mind. Open the old stories. Two, read some books. There are books. And you know, I have to say I'm so proud of our community, Universal Spirit Center. Our racial equality project. We do a call of action every week, of things that you can participate in, of knowledge that will help expand, of, you know, Campaign Zero. I love the work that they've done, Campaign Zero. They've laid out a platform of how we can restructure the laws of our police. And they must be restructured. We have a movie of the month that always explores different aspects of racism and inequality. And last but not least, be open to share. I'm always open. If anyone wants to email me, Gino at universalspiritcenter.org, please. Conversation is what we must have. That's another opportunity to expand one's mind, to grow. Charles Stewart, I remember this story. It was plastered everywhere. They were out of Indianapolis. A wife and his child. Big black man broke into his house and killed his wife and child. Big black man. Oh, about 6 feet, had a beard, afro. They had a whole, you know, they had a full picture. So every black man that was a close resemblance to that was pulled in, was harassed. And I have to say, honestly, I don't remember if they arrested a black man. But oh my goodness, did black men get hell. Because I'm from the Midwest, and Indiana is also one of those places, very conservative. Very conservative, like Missouri, extremely conservative. What did they find out? Charles Stewart killed his wife and child. He wasn't a threat. But we would believe that a big black man did it. So take notice to where your big black man comes up. Take notice to where you feel like, ooh. Start to observe where your biases are, because that starts the healing process. See, the threat is us losing humanity. That's the true threat. That if we lose humanity, the human consciousness, the human compassion will not be. It cannot survive. That's the real threat. So I want to finish with this close of this video that's part 2 to the video that I showed you. I thank you for taking the time Whether you're throwing things at the TV or you're saying some choice words, that's still part of the process. It's part of it. But we'll play the second half of this video for you right now.
This is what we're facing. This is our reality. This has been our reality since we were lynched and hanging from trees. And what I'm saying to you is that your tears and your prayers aren't enough. We need your action. We need your voices. Don't just tell people to vote. Tell them that they need to vote for what? Vote to end police brutality. Vote for equal rights. You have to get active. And whenever we start talking about Black Lives Matter, people say what? What about black on black crime? Oh God, I hate that term, right? Say violence in the community, say anything else, but they're saying blacks are killing other blacks, and that's the leading cause of death. But let me tell you what takes more black lives than any other black person, and it's called food injustice. Do you know that food and beverage companies spend $10 billion a year targeting poor communities, trying to get them to consume poisons, right? Soda companies, fast food companies. And to tell you the truth, I grew up in the South Bronx, hardworking Christian family, and my dad got sick. My dad actually died on his 7th heart attack. And a lot of that was because of what he consumed. We didn't necessarily know how to eat, but we couldn't afford to eat good food. We lived in the South Bronx, which was a food desert. So here we have it. People are eating, they're becoming obese, and these companies are running chemical tests to get people addicted to food. Their food sent to poor communities that have the ingredients modified just for those communities. And then we turn around and say, look at you, you're fat. You made this choice. You're killing yourself. In actuality, these people are hooked on these foods. Food injustice is real. And why aren't you hearing about this? Because companies like Coca-Cola or Pepsi donate to the NAACP. Some of the most famous activists receive money from these companies. So when you hear the term systematic oppression, it is very real. It is so real, and it attacks us from every angle, and we need help. Yes, we're organizing our communities, but let's face the facts. Minorities are the minority in this country, right? And it isn't until the majority of people care enough to do something about it that change will come. Do you have love in your hearts? Do you love your neighbor? Do you believe in the Bible? The Quran? Do you believe in your religious teachings? Because I guarantee you, all of them tell you to help your neighbor. The time has come for us to stop standing around and allowing people to die. 5 centuries of death without any justice. Are you going to be the generation to say enough is enough? Because I'll tell you this. Many of you say, if I were alive during the Holocaust, I would have done this. I would have done such and such. If I were alive during slavery, I would have done such and such. We're living in similar times. And I tell you that you're doing the same thing now that you would have done back then. And you have the ability to change it. God bless you.
Out here doing amazing work. We have incredible practitioners, ministerial students, minister, our foundation, our board, and each and every one of our congregants is a light shining. and lighting the path for others. So I thank you so much for being here. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 So I just want to remind each and every one of you that you can go to our webpage. We have a lot of classes that are up and coming. Our beloved Lee Armentrout, Living the Science of Mind, is coming up soon. It starts, I think, next Monday. Yeah, next Monday. Christine is saying, yeah, it starts next Monday. Super awesome. The movie of the month is Nina. It is a documentary, the life story of Nina Simone. What a powerful light she was, and the struggle that had to go through. Check out our racial equality page and find out what's the call this week. It has to do with Campaign Zero and recognizing ways that we can help support writing new laws by writing your congressman in your district to say that, hey, you want some change. You want some change. And so we have a podcast on there, and there are links to things. Please check it out. So take this breath, and we have many ways. I don't know if we put up our donate sign that you can donate and support Universal Spirit Center. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. I'm so grateful for all that Universal Spirit Center does. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for Sarah Adams coming and running the production. I'm grateful for Christine Thompson coming in the house, always in blessing. Thank you. I'm so grateful for Bob Mozz. Did I get it right? Mozz? For always being here. Grateful. I'm always so grateful for my sweet Linda Ely. Thank you. I'm so grateful. Yeah. So very grateful. We'll see you next week. I believe Sarah Adams is on next week for Awakening Wednesday. Hoo-yah, hoo-yah, hoo-yah. We'll have that out for you on Facebook and Instagram. I thank you so much. Blessings, blessings, and blessings.